I call the member for Noosa.
Thank you, Mr Deputy Speaker. As we have heard, the Summary Offences and Other Legislation Amendment Bill 2019 seeks to introduce a range of measures to deter Queenslanders from using attachment devices that may endanger themselves, emergency service workers and members of the public, and to assist police officers in minimising the disruption caused to the community through the employment of these devices. Deputy Speaker, the right to peacefully assemble and protest has long been held as a defining characteristic of our democratic society, recognised in international human rights laws through Article 21 of the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights. This right is enshrined in Queensland, as we've heard earlier, through the Peaceful Assembly Act 1992 and is also acknowledged within the Human Rights Act 2019. Protesting throughout our history has been used to advocate for change, especially when people believe, and rightfully so at times, governments are not listening or the system we operate under is flawed. There are many outstanding examples of the role peaceful assemblies play in creating change and for interest groups and individuals to express their views to the wider public. Rallies provide an avenue for concerns to be voiced, heard and potentially acted upon. As an MP and an advocate for change, I fully support informed, peaceful and respectful pathways to ensuring voices are heard. However, we have seen movements, locally and globally, with stated aims of using non-violent methods adopt extreme and potentially dangerous, destructive avenues in order to capture public attention and advocate their position or ideology. Mr Deputy Speaker, in Queensland, small groups are engaging in deliberately unlawful behaviour with potentially dangerous outcomes using bespoke devices such as the Sleeping Dragon. These devices are designed to fix protesters to a place, an object or each other. This concern is magnified by those who have indicated intentionally incorporating dangerous items into these devices, presenting a real or potential risk of injury or death to protesters, frontliners and fellow Queenslanders. This is not acceptable. In a number of submissions against this bill, arguments include that there appears either no evidence of these devices being dangerous or devices such as sleeping dragons, dragon's den, monopole, etc., should not be defined as dangerous attachment devices, as they are often deployed as part of safe, peaceful protests. Mr Deputy Speaker, let's be clear on this. We live in an increasingly fearful world, and regardless of submissions to the contrary, any risk, potential or otherwise, to the safety of everyday people going about their everyday business should not be part of peaceful protests. The Queensland Law Society, police and other frontliners agree with the proposed new offence provisions, which has a clear focus on the prevention of injury to protesters and emergency services personnel. Again, I stress, as well to those that inadvertently who may be in close proximity. Mr Deputy Speaker, protesters have a right to free speech and to have their voice heard. Two of my aunties were and are fervent protesters, and I certainly respect them for their peaceful messaging. However, we expect that no one, regardless of the rationale, has a right to break the law, disrupt others and present either a perceived or real danger. Anyone who does so should understand and accept the consequences of their actions. In closing, I thank the Minister, Departments, Committee and submitters for their work in what was a very tight time frame, and I ask that advocates across Queensland consider that the power of the pen, genuine commitment and factual information will always be more effective than acts or words that misinform, incite or encourage violence. Thank you.
Thank you, member for Noosa. I call the member for